Was that the best Hell in a Cell match in almost 10 years? Hello, I am Adam from WrestleTalk, your reigning, defending, one-time Jam That Champion. Mwah! I'm here reviewing Hell in a Cell. These are your immediate live reactions. And honestly, talk about a show saved by its main event. There were two admittedly very good matches on tonight's card, but today felt like a house show sandwich. Brilliant opening match, phenomenal main event, and the rest of it was not even an episode of Raw. Because it really didn't feel like anything was really advanced in any of the matches. These all felt like house show matches to me. But we'll break it down match by match. We'll start with the opening triple threat featuring Bianca Belair retaining her title versus Becky Lynch and Asuka, three of the most reliable big match workers in the company, regardless of gender. I thought this was great. The Chicago crowd really loved it, evidently, as well. It got to the point where, after, your typical triple threat match fare, one person gets hurt, rolls to the outside, two people do a wrestle. There are a couple of nice little three-way spots in there, but the majority of it was a couple of single matches stapled together. But then there was a wonderful closing run of sequences when it genuinely seemed like anyone could take it. WWE are very, very good at the fake out, the kind of the little details, like the camera all just catching that someone has been hit out of the ring, and which may mean that someone else kind of can leap in there and take advantage. And yeah, with the triple threat rules, and obviously, either Asuka or Becky would probably be the one pinned. You knew pretty much that Bianca was never going to suffer the fall, but with that triple threat stipulation, there were a couple of heart in your mouth falsies that made you really think, oh, actually, Asuka is going to take this, or oh no, Becky's going to steal one, before Bianca inevitably actually got the win, stealing the win, in fact, after Becky hit a manhandle slam on Asuka. Really, really fantastic opening match. And then, well, like, none of these matches you could really classify as bad. They're just inconsequential, and a lot of it suffers from the fact that this is the third pay-per-view in a row for a lot of these feuds. Like, I mean, not so much, obviously, Bianca, Asuka, and Becky, been the first time we've seen them since WrestleMania, so fantastic there. But Lashley versus MVP and Omos. It's the third pay-per-view in a row for this. Third pay-per-view in a row for a lot of the kind of the Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss story. Third pay-per-view in a row for Cody and Seth. And third pay-per-view in a row for Edge versus AJ Styles in some form. Like, it kind of feels a little bit like Groundhog Day. And especially with the top belt being off the shows, a lot of these recent pay-per-views have felt like decent matches, but just robbed of purpose, of any real reason to watch. Like, not even Monday Night Raw levels of purpose. It's so weird to watch objectively good wrestling happening in a context vacuum, like having little to nothing to kind of really kind of sink your teeth into. For a lot of this show, I thought, like, why would anyone go back and watch this show again? Like, maybe for the opening match, but we've seen better women's triple threats. Like, just go back and watch the amazing WrestleMania match again if you want to see Bianca and Becky mix it up. Like, Lashley versus MVP and almost. Lashley got a babyface house show win over MVP. Great. All right. Sure, why not? Did Lashley need the win? Anyone really advancing here? I mean, Cedric Alexander, nice to see you, I suppose. Sort of just circling around this kind of hurt business void, this kind of just endlessly moving around in various shades of black and gold, not really being able to find his own feet. Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens, a relatively shocking result, I guess. I think Ezekiel's coming out party, like the first match on this card that felt like a fresh match, that felt like it wasn't something that we'd seen in some form or another at another point in time. And I think a lot of people expected Ezekiel to walk away with it. The match was fine, quite unremarkable. like the Ezekiel Elias gimmick is very fun, but I'm not sure if it's a joke that has yet found a way to translate into a match. You know, obviously you can have great stupid gimmicks with a big dumb joke premise like Miz and Mizdow, but that translated into a match because Mizdow was copying all of Miz's moves. So during the match there was enough kind of like reiteration of the joke to keep you engaged. Whereas with Elias and Kevin Owens, all there was Kevin Owens looking down the camera as he pinned Ezekiel saying Elias. It didn't find a way to pay off in any meaningful physical way. I'm not sure where they're going with the story. It feels like Ezekiel might be done. Maybe that's an overreaction, but surprising to see Kevin Owens win. We shouldn't be sad to see Kevin Owens win, I suppose. But hey, the match didn't mean a lot to me, just because, yeah, like I said, the story didn't really felt like it progressed that much. But hey, Kevin Owens got a win. Sure, why not? He had Judgment Day versus AJ and his magical pals. Yeah, fine. It was great to see Rhea kind of like wrestle, kind of a big proper pay-per-view match. It's nice to see Judgment Day, amazing entrance. Like, their presentation's fabulous. I think they're a cohesive enough unit. I think Rhea is sort of on her way to being the star of the group, to be honest. I thought, shame for Finn. If this is not moving towards a Finn Balor heel turn, real big shame for Finn. AJ can't buy a win at this point. So it's a meaningful thing to see Judgment Day in its maybe full incarnation get a win, but after the last 2 months, I don't know how much more like you can be invested. 2 months. It genuinely, at Money in the Bank, it will be a full year since AJ Styles won a pay-per-view match. And yeah, nothing felt like it was really progressed. They beat Finn Balor. Finn Balor ate the pin. Maybe there's something going on there. But even then, like, I don't know. I wouldn't. It's a fine 6-man tag. Again, a house show, though. It's a house show match. I don't know why you would go back and watch it necessarily. But good for Rhea. Good for her. We had Theory and Mustafa. No, we didn't have Theory and Mustafa Ali next. We had a horrible surprise. When Sully and I watched the show, we did not know that Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss had a bloody match scheduled. Another rerun on these endless rerun pay-per-views. I didn't care. I'm sorry. I want Madcap Moss to succeed. It's weird. He used to look like a sort of like Mickey Mouse Chippendale, and now he just looks like nothing. Kind of looks like a slightly more chiseled Mongo from WCW. He looks a lot more boring. He did a thing to Corbin's neck. Like, there are some decent enough spots, like, you know, the wedge the chair and throw them through it. Like, the chair shots that Madcap gave Corbin looked like they bloody hurt. But yeah, I cannot bring myself to care about more Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. I just can't. You won't make me. So there. And finally, the main event. The Holy Grail. A Hell in a Cell match that felt gruesome. I loved this match. A lot of me and Sully watching it was just us debating how hurt is Cody. Obviously, the report is that the injury is legit. The bruise certainly is. Him rocking his Triple H torn pectoral. I mean, it seems absolutely fitting that a lot of the closing sequences around this match paid homage to Triple H, because Cody tore his pectoral muscle in the same way that Triple H did in Saudi Arabia, both kind of rocking the same kind of shoulder arm horrendous bruise. But Cody finally got to hit the pedigree, hit Seth Rollins with the sledgehammer to pick up a win. 3 wins in a row. We're in a time warp. 3 wins in a row. Seth can't beat a man who's got a torn pectoral muscle off the bone. So from what we can gather, the injury is legit. Cody very heavily favouring his arm. Lots of really convincing kind of moments of genuine agony, like after the match. Cody does this a lot. Cody is a very emotional wrestler. He's a very sincere wrestler, and that sincerity often reads as false. But in this case, like, you cannot boo this man. A superhero performance of guts and braving through unspeakable pain. I'm sure I'm going to seem like a massive mark. Loads of people will cry work, but bloody hell, even if it's only a slight pectoral injury, the amount of fortitude it must take to wrestle a Hell in a Cell match. And that's what made the Hell in a Cell match feel special, because it felt like a grueling effort. So many Hell in a Cell matches are hardcore matches in a box, whereas this one felt like specifically torture for certainly one person. It felt like uncomfortable to watch at points. It felt like we shouldn't be watching it. It felt unsanctioned. It felt like WWE was doing something wrong by letting Cody wrestle. All these things that used to be part and parcel of the Devil's Playground. The worst has happened. We've had to schedule a Hell in a Cell match because otherwise this feud just won't end. And this had levels of that for the first time in generally for the first time since Brock and The Undertaker. I think that was the last proper Hell in a Cell match that really felt like it needed to be Hell in a Cell and properly paid off in that kind of horrible, violent, gritty kind of like, oh my god, just seeing Taker being planted on the floorboards gave me that same kind of queasiness as seeing Cody try to powerbomb Seth or try to just lift a hammer and not being able to do it. Absolutely exceptional. This is the show. This is the match that you would go back and rewatch this show for. This is the match that gave this show purpose. It woke me up, which is after an incredibly boring 2 hours. First match taken to one side, but a very boring like hour and a half to 2 hours. This match woke me the hell up. I absolutely loved it. What did you think of not just Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell, but what did you think of Hell in a Cell in general? Let us know in the comments. Check back for the WrestleTalk news a little bit later when there'll be another look back, another recap of the pay-per-view. And of course, check out WrestleTalk podcast where the entire show will be talked out in a lot greater detail. I am too tired. I'm going to bed. I've been Adam, your eternal jam, that champion. That has been us talking about Hell in a Cell. Get on board is no rolls bards tagline. Jam that jam. I'm sleepy. Bye everyone. Bye bye.